You're listening to the Life Friendly Business Podcast. I'm your host, Erin Thomas Wong, business mentor, author, and founder of the Cocoon VIP membership, empowering women around the world to build businesses on their terms. If you want to grow and scale a business that works in harmony with your family and your life, this podcast is for you. We are all hurtling towards the summer holidays right now if you've got kids at school. So I hope that you're doing okay. I know that this time of year can feel quite pressurized, not just in terms of school admin and events with those kind of things, but also trying to get your business in a position where you can maybe take a step back over the summer to enjoy time with your family. So my top tips really are to just focus on what are the most important and urgent things that you need to get done, and try and think about all the other noise that you can kind of cut out so that you can just focus down on getting those things done, because it's one of those times where just everything seems to be happening. So on today's show, we're going to be talking about visibility through YouTube. And I wanted to invite Louise Brogan back on the show. She spoke to us back in season 1 about building her business in a flexible way. So Louise has over 10 years experience supporting small businesses who want to leverage social media, and she focuses on LinkedIn. She's an international speaker, writer, and the host of LinkedIn with Louise podcast and YouTube channel. She shares with us her story and her journey of building her channel to over 6,500 subscribers, and how she's regularly earning hundreds of pounds a month via Google Ads, and also about where it fits in the strategy of her business, how good YouTube is for helping you to build credibility. And we also talk about things like whether you should actually give your best content away for free. Lots of top tips coming up for you now. Hi, Louise. It is fantastic to have you back on the Life Friendly Business Podcast.
Thank you very much, Erin. It's always a delight talking to you.
Thank you. So we last spoke to you way back on episode 8, it was, and we're in the 50s now. And that was all about nailing work-life balance. But I wanted to invite you back for the visibility series, because not only are you teaching people how to use LinkedIn, and you're very visible on LinkedIn, but you're also using YouTube for your business. And I know that I have people all the time asking me more about using YouTube, and it's not something that I've really embraced yet. I've tinkered with it, but I would love you to share your experience of YouTube with us.
Oh, absolutely. So it's like my passion project, actually, Erin, my YouTube channel. And I've just released a video on it today. It's not like anything else that I do, in that I can post content on LinkedIn. I put my podcast out. I don't really look at the numbers or the metrics for those things, because I get validation in that people contact me to work with them based off of that. So I'm not really bothered about how many thousands of views I've seen on my post on LinkedIn, or how many people are tuning into my podcast episodes. More that I literally get direct, messages from people on that. But YouTube is completely different. It's a different animal for me. And I don't know, also, is it because I started it as a kind of distraction during lockdown? Is it because 2 of my friends are absolute gods on YouTube, and we can share their channels if you like, 'cause people can go and check them out. Saying they're absolute gods, that's hilarious. They'd die if I said that to them. But they've got they've got the play buttons, and they've got the millions of views and all that stuff. So they are a million streets ahead of me. But they've really inspired me and really helped me, and it's kind of their fault that I started this in the first place. So yeah, it's just, you ask me anything you want to ask me about using YouTube for visibility.
Okay, well, let's start off first of all by would you be able to give people a picture of your business and your business model? So where does your podcast and YouTube and all those things fit in?
Okay, great. Okay, so my business is a LinkedIn marketing agency, and we do content management and LinkedIn management for professional services companies. So companies like financial services, people who are working in diversity and inclusion, professional services companies, those kinds of companies. I also do in-person and online training workshops for people who want to upskill on how to use LinkedIn. I work with people one-to-one on something called the LinkedIn VIP session. And I also deliver training to teams, which I really, really enjoy doing because I'm a real people person. The podcast has been out, oh my heavens, I think my podcast is about 6 years old. And I used to religiously put out an episode a week. And now it's probably every couple of weeks. And it's about 227 episodes old. So you can tell there's a breakdown in the weekly sessions because that would be only about 4 years. But the podcast has never really been about driving clients to me. I never really got business from the podcast. My business really comes through word of mouth, referrals, and people seeing my stuff on LinkedIn. Saying that, actually, maybe I'm lying to myself because a third of my referrals have come from somebody who listens to every podcast episode I do. So maybe I'm being a bit unfair to the podcast there. But in terms of YouTube has brought me a different kind of lead. And I never really saw it as something to generate business. And when I started it, is literally, so there's a thing called the Colby, which tells you what kind of strengths you have in business. And I'm very high at something called Fact Finder. So I love really finding out how something works. So I loved finding out how YouTube worked, but also I love finding out all the little new features on LinkedIn and then making videos to share that with other people. So that's kind of what all of the content, by the way, on YouTube and the podcast is all how to use LinkedIn. So 227 podcasts, I think on YouTube, I think I have at least 100 videos, at least. And they're all really short, which is probably, spoiler alert, one of the tips I'm going to give in a little while. But I'm getting very different leads through YouTube. And what I mean by that is I'm getting global brands contacting me. So, for example, I've been contacted by senior leads in Google, senior leads. And I say senior, I'm talking about global leads, global positions in companies like Google. There was a Grant Thornton, which is a big financial services company, the head of their marketing for, I think it was Slovenia or Slovakia, I can't remember now, contacted me. But I get people reaching out to me on LinkedIn who found my YouTube channel. Recently, there's a large manufacturing company based in America with thousands of employees. Their marketing team reached out to me all through YouTube. And I think this is why YouTube is so powerful, is because it's owned by Google. So it's a search engine. And when someone goes to Google and types in how to write your LinkedIn headline or how to manage a LinkedIn company page, you get the search results that come up that are blogs and articles, but you also get a series of videos as well. And that's where I get a lot of traffic and get a lot of people finding me for my YouTube videos.
So what's really interesting here, and I know that this is something that stops people from putting their content out there. So what you're saying is your business is teaching people how to use LinkedIn. You know, you're a training company and all those things, but yet you're giving away all this free content on how to use LinkedIn on your podcast and your YouTube. And I know that so many people are terrified of doing that. And they're like, why would I do that? Because then people won't pay me for stuff. So what would be your answer to that?
So if we're talking about visibility, which we are, I have 6,000 subscribers on YouTube. Even if I wanted to work with those people individually or to manage their LinkedIn company pages, there's no way on earth I could manage it or have capacity for it. So when someone is looking for what it is that you do, whether you are a health coach or you are an organizational coach, or you're helping people build a business, you're helping people start a YouTube channel, whatever it is, only a certain very, very small percentage of those people will actually pay you. So you want to cast your net far and wide so that more people know about you. And that's, here's an example, Erin. Like, I love to speak on stages, I love standing up in front of a room of people, telling them something genuinely useful that they're able to take away and go and put into action. And for me, that's all about how to use LinkedIn, how to use LinkedIn to generate leads, how to use LinkedIn for sales, how you use LinkedIn to get found as a speaker. The reason that I'm getting those opportunities is because I'm known as an expert in my field. And the reason I'm an expert in my field and people know that I am is because I write and create and make videos all about this one topic, which shows people that I know what I'm doing. And of all of those people, they might go to an event tomorrow and somebody will say, oh, yeah, we need help with our LinkedIn. Well, they'll think, oh, Louise Brogan, she's that one that talks about LinkedIn all the time. You should talk to her. So without creating all of that content, people wouldn't know that this is the area of my expertise. Also, a lot of people will reach out to me and say, Louise, I really need help with my LinkedIn, but I can't afford your prices. Because Erin, my prices they're not cheap. They're, because I know what I'm doing, I charge appropriately, and my prices are based really at my ideal client, which is these professional services companies. So somebody who is maybe a brand new baby business, or somebody who's maybe in the small business network that I am part of. I'm a small business champion for the UK. Somebody who's just started out and needs some help with LinkedIn. It's wonderful because I'm able to say, oh, here, everything that I teach anybody about LinkedIn is all here for free. Go ahead, fill your boots and work away. And that's also part of the reason why I started this in the first place, was to be able to say, I don't like saying no to people. I don't want to say, oh, no, you can't pick my brain. What I have now is I'll say, absolutely, here's a video on that. And if I don't have a video on it, I make a video on it. One of my American mastermind group that I've just finished working with said to me, Louise, is there anything you haven't made a video on about LinkedIn? I'm like, well, hopefully not. But if there's a question that I don't have a video for, I'll make a video.
And this is the thing, is that like you say, you've created all these videos that are publicly and freely available. But I think, I feel like, and I'm sure you agree, there will always be a market for a paid course in this stuff. And like the people that are so scared of putting their stuff out there for free, that basically you can go onto Google and you can search how to use anything.
Yes. But
actually what we really value is someone walking us through the whole process and kind of holding our hands, isn't it?
Yes. And a good way to look at this outside of the online business world is, recently we had a leak in our sink in the downstairs loo. And yes, we went on Google and we looked to see how to fix it ourselves. And yes, I could have spent 12 hours trying to figure out how on earth to fix a leaky tap in my downstairs loo. But you know what? I don't want to do that. So I went and paid a plumber to come and do it for me. And because he's an expert plumber, he was able to come into my house, fix it in half an hour. I paid him the money and off he went. And I thought, yippee, I don't have to try and figure that out for myself. So there will always be people who will want to do it themselves. And there will always be people who would rather say, actually, do you know what? Can you just walk me through this together? And I'm very happy to pay you for your knowledge and expertise. Or can you just do this for me? And in my business, we have DFY and DWY clients, which are done for you, done with you. And anyone who wants to DIY, you know where they go, Erin. They go to my YouTube channel and they do it themselves.
I love that. I really loved what you said as well about the conversion rate. And because, I mean, God, there's so much to say here. And with the Visibility Mastermind, the whole idea is that we're prioritizing getting new people into our world all the time because, an average conversion rate is only 2 to 5%. But I really feel as well that, it's not just fear of failure that holds us back. It's also fear of success. And sometimes people feel like, well, there's no point me doing a YouTube channel, because if I got that many views and that many inquiries, there's no way I'd be able to handle it all. And they're kind of limiting themselves with that. Like, have you ever felt that kind of, has that ever held you back, thinking about getting too much work, for example?
Yes, absolutely. So if we look at the agency model that my business has become, we have 9 clients on monthly retainers. And I know that I could go all out, go to speaking gigs, I could do a webinar once a month specifically for that audience. And I could absolutely probably bring in four new clients a month on that retainer model. What would that do? That would break my business. My business is not, I hire carefully, cautiously. I onboard clients professionally. It takes a month for a client to come on board with us. By the time we get to understand their business, their tone of voice, what they want to say, what their content's going to be about, to train their team to optimize their profiles, to optimize their company pages. That all takes a good month. And to get the back end all set up so that my team are fully aware of all of those things and understand who the client is and really want to work with the client. If I was out there selling all the time, I could, like I say, I could bring in 4 clients a month if I wanted to, but that would flatten us. So instead, my goal is to bring in 1 to 2 new clients a month maximum. And I think people think that's like a online marketing trick, and it's genuinely not. When I email someone and say, really loved speaking to you, we'd love to work with you, but if you let me know if you're interested or not, because we have 1 space for a new client starting next month. That is not me doing that fake scarcity online marketing tactic that you do see other people doing. That's me genuinely saying we have 1 space next month because I want to grow steadily and in a way that's sustainable for me and my business and my lifestyle. So yes, absolutely. I totally get that. However, building a YouTube channel takes a long time. Nobody's going to start a YouTube channel and have success overnight unless they have daddy putting his millions in behind them. Sorry, cynical head coming in there, Erin, apologies. But you're not going to get a massive YouTube channel overnight anyway, so I wouldn't worry about that. It's better, genuinely, if you think you'd like to make videos to build an audience, I would just start and maybe try doing like 1 or 2 videos a month to get yourself up and running, because it takes a long time. And I'll tell you, Erin, my channel is all about LinkedIn. There are 2 people that I know who also have LinkedIn YouTube channels who have enormous audiences, and they haven't got the size of channel that I have. And that's because there's just certain tips and techniques on how to do YouTube properly that they maybe aren't aware of, or they're approaching it in the way that they approach other channels. So just already having a large audience. So say you're an Instagram ban and you've got, 20, 30,000 people following you on Instagram, and you think, I'm just going to start a YouTube channel and all of these people are going to come watch my videos. Doesn't work that way. YouTube is very, very different in terms of how people find you and who watches your content.
Well, I am very excited to hear your tips then. So what would you say are the top 3 mistakes that people are making with YouTube and how they can avoid them?
So I was going to say, number 1, they haven't started yet, but that's not my actual tip. Okay. Number 1, the key thing that I have learned is that people create videos that are too long and they're rambling. They're starting their video, introducing themselves, introducing the topic. When someone goes to Google and says, how do I create a LinkedIn company page? If you don't start talking about how to create a LinkedIn company page straight off the bat, they move on to the next video. So keeping your video short and concise. If your video says it is how to fix a leaky tap in the kitchen, you better not stop talking to me about how to have a career in plumbing first before you start the leaky tap. I'm moving straight to the next person who's going to show me how to fix my leaky tap. It's the exact same. I think when you think about it in terms of those kinds of services that people are used to using YouTube for, how to do something, like, I don't know about in your house, but my husband definitely fixed our tumble dryer by using a YouTube video a few years ago. So people think about how the YouTube system works. Someone is looking for, Googling something, and if you have the answer in your video, you better get straight to the point, because people click away. And how the LinkedIn or how the YouTube algorithm works is, if people are clicking away from your video in high volume, they stop showing your video to people. So keep it short and concise.
And this is really in sync.
My answer.
This is really in sync as well with, we had some training in the Cocoon about storytelling, and she was saying, start in the action. Yes. She was saying too many people feel like you have to give like the backstory to something and actually start in the moment that you're talking about. And that's very similar to what you're saying, just cut straight to the chase.
Yeah, so that's funny, isn't it? Because like you and I have known each other, Erin, for years. You know, I like to talk. It's a very Northern Irish trait. And if I talked on my YouTube channel the way I talk like today, I wouldn't have any viewers.
Out of interest, do you put your podcast on YouTube?
No. So yes and no. I am doing LinkedIn Lives for my podcast. So some of my podcast episodes now are just me talking into the microphone about LinkedIn features or LinkedIn strategy. Some of them are the LinkedIn live streams that I'm doing, and those they go straight onto YouTube as well. So I stream onto LinkedIn and YouTube at the same time.
Right.
Getting into a bit more strategy here, those LinkedIn lives that stream on YouTube actually generate quite a high percentage of revenue. So I earn revenue from my YouTube channel, and it tells you how much each video earns. Okay. So my live stream videos, if I look at them and I look at the metrics on those, the amount of money I earn per view is higher on the live stream, but the volume of views is tiny. Okay. So for example, I recently did a LinkedIn live video conversation, and for every 1,000 views, advertisers will pay me £118, which is insane. In comparison, so this is how you can get really into down a rabbit hole with LinkedIn or with YouTube. I keep saying LinkedIn. I'm sorry. So another video that I did, which is called One Simple Hack to Boost Your LinkedIn Video Engagement. The money that I get on that one is about £7 per 1,000 views. Huge difference. Well, it just means that if you're looking at a video, that some videos, all the videos that you put on YouTube, once you monetize, are worth a certain amount of money to an advertiser to post on to their audience. So, for example, LinkedIn have put adverts in front of my videos. The companies that want to advertise in front of my videos on YouTube know that somebody who is looking for how to use LinkedIn for business is likely to have a higher expendable income. Therefore, the advertisers will pay more money for my audience than they will, for example, for a video that's for kids on how to, I don't know, open your new box with your Xbox. So yeah, there's another video that earns £24 for every 1,000 views, but I've earned on that one video, I've earned £339.
Fantastic. Is there a magic number of how many views or subscribers you need before you can monetize?
Yeah, they just changed it actually. So it used to be 1,000 subscribers, and now it is 500 subscribers. However, you still need 4,000 watch hours in a year before you can monetize.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. Okay, so what's number 2?
Number 2 is your thumbnails. And that's the little graphic that goes at the start of your video. And these are, you need to have a human face. Well, it's recommended you have a human face close up in your thumbnail. So do you know what I mean by thumbnails, Erin? The
Yes.
little graphic. You need, if you imagine someone is on YouTube on their phone, the text on your thumbnail should be big enough that people can read on their phones in a little, basically they're looking at lots of little images on their phones. So large text, not too much text, and a human face. So not like a full body of a person, because we can't see your face. So it's the interaction with the human face that makes it more clickable. And one thing I refuse to do is do the shock face, because I just think it looks really naff. But I also am highly aware that the shock face gets more click-throughs. But I just refuse to do it. I'm a woman in my 40s. I'm not doing a shock open mouth face on YouTube. Thank you. No, thank you. So yes, and yeah, thumbnails, very, very important. I make my own. Probably would do better if I paid somebody else to do it. But these services are not, they're not expensive. But if you think, well, if I pay an editor and I pay someone to do my thumbnails for a video that's going to, in its lifetime, make me 400 quid or 25 quid, because you don't really know how it's going to do until it goes live. I'm not going to pay £100 for editing and thumbnails on each video, because, that's a lot of money going out.
And so do you just have like a Canva template that you use each time?
I don't use a template, but I do use Canva. What I do normally, so for example, if I made a video today, which I did, and I'm wearing a pink shirt and I'm in the video and you can see me in the pink shirt in the video, then I get my camera phone and take a landscape picture of me wearing that same shirt, and I'm over to the left or the right of the screen. Then you upload that into Canva and it's a close-up of your face, smiling, preferably, unless you're talking about something scary. Like, we're not, I'm assuming we're talking about videos for YouTube for business on this podcast today. So you're going to be smiling at the camera, and then you're going to add in your text, and bright colors seem to work well as well. And quite often removing the busy background and having a plain colored background works as well.
Lovely. Great tips. Fantastic. Number 3.
Don't give up. So I mentioned these 2 guys earlier, Tom and Luke. So they are YouTubers, official YouTubers, with their shiny play buttons and their millions of views. Tom's channel is not his own personal, it's not a personal channel, but Luke's is. So you can go and look up Luke Sherran, Sherran, and his is all about health and fitness and weightlifting and stuff about, he mixes in about stuff about Marvel and all those superhero type people, or like Thor or whatever. And he has millions and millions of views on his channel. So if I compared myself to them, I would have just not bothered. So it's about consistency, starting your channel, trying to get one video up a week, because genuinely people do check in with you on your channel. Once they subscribe, people will then be looking for your next video to come out, which I think is very lovely. But you never know when a video is going to take off. And a case in point is I have a video on my channel that is about LinkedIn carousel posts. And I made it, when did I make that video? It's quite old. So I'm just looking at 655 days ago. So that's almost 2 years. And it had no views, or very, very few views, for the first 218 days. So I'm looking at a graph as I speak, Erin. So it had, in the first 28 days, it had 3,860 views. It now has 32,900 views. And now it's just blown up because more people are looking for carousel posts content on LinkedIn. But, you never really know. Like how I actually started taking this seriously was during lockdown. I was in a mastermind with Tom and Luke and a few others, and they were talking about their YouTube channels. And I was kind of intrigued about it all. And I said, oh, I have a YouTube channel, but I never look at it. And Tom went off to look at it. And he says, Louise, you've got a video with like 40,000 views. And I was like, what are you talking about? So I had made videos about how to post on Facebook. Literally, the video is called How to Post on Facebook. And the other one was how to post into a Facebook group. And those videos had thousands and thousands of views. I had no idea. I was like, oh, people want to watch my videos. That's interesting. And so I thought, well, then maybe I should write videos about something that people actually, that's to do with my business. Yeah. So 5 years ago, I made my How to Share Your Blog Post to Facebook. And that's had 47,000 views. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. And because it was lockdown and we were all kind of looking for little hobbies to do, I thought, well, maybe I'll try making videos for YouTube on LinkedIn. I think it took me, once I started doing it properly in lockdown, it probably took me about a year to get monetized. And now it's a steady 280, £300 a month just comes into my bank account from Google for content that it's like set it and forget it. It's up there. People are watching it. Like this, I think I got a notification a couple of weeks ago that I have 700,000 views on my YouTube channel. Like, what?
Wow. Such an achievement. So that's actually one thing I just wanted to check before we kind of wrap up was, are you repurposing these videos in any way? You know, you said set it and forget it. Like, are you sharing these YouTube videos like on your social, to your email list, on your website?
So if I write a blog and I've got a video already made that talks about the same subject, I will embed the video in the blog. When I make the video and put it on YouTube, I put it in that week's email newsletter. When I've done articles or newsletters on LinkedIn, and again, it refers to something that I've a YouTube video on, I'll embed the video in there. I don't really share them on my social media channels, and maybe that's another thing that I could be doing. But the YouTube channel for me, Erin, is not a primary source of income. It's kind of I like making the videos. I get a kick out of watching my numbers go up every day. Like, it's just like a little buzz. I go and look and go, oh, how cool. I've got, 74% more views than usual in the last 28 days. Nice. Yeah. So I like that. I like watching my subscriber numbers go up. But I would say it's more like a hobby that pays me. But where I use those videos most is when someone asks me a question. Louise, how do you do this? How can you view posts anonymously on LinkedIn? How can I add somebody to our company page? There's a guy who reached out to me and said, how do you get rid of the hiring ring around your face on your LinkedIn profile? I have a video for that. The videos are short, Erin. That's the other thing. Big tip is just answer the question and don't think, oh, but if this video is longer, I'd get more views, because it doesn't work that way. Short, concise, tell them what they're looking for and get out. No waffling on at the end, because again, LinkedIn or YouTube will say, oh, people dropped off after 20% of this video, so therefore it mustn't be that valuable to people. So keep it short and concise.
And I think, from everything you've said and everything that I've seen of your stuff as well, having this YouTube channel just really adds to your credibility as an expert in your field and help builds authority. And, you mentioned about speaking on stages and stuff like that. And I think, like, you're absolutely right that having that kind of gives evidence to people and trust in people that if they invite you to speak, they know that you're going to deliver.
Yes,
because they can see the evidence. And, I always find for me as well, in periods where I have speaking opportunities, I get more speaking opportunities because people have seen that you've spoken somewhere else and they know that they're in safe hands with you.
Yes.
So it kind of feeds each other.
I think the other thing about my channel that has definitely been commented on to me by multiple people is that I'm very approachable. So the person that is speaking on this podcast right now is exactly how I speak in my YouTube videos. And people like that. I've had comments like, "Oh, Louise, I really like how you speak, and you're not waving your arms around in the air, and you don't sound like a you know what in your videos." So
no swearing.
We think you're the kind of person we'd like to work with. So there's a lot of that going on too, Erin, which is I think is very valuable.
Thank you so much. It's been so insightful. Really lots of useful tips there. So how can people find out more about you?
They can check out my website, louisebrogan.com. They are extremely welcome to come subscribe to me on YouTube. LinkedIn with Louise on YouTube and also on the podcast, or come and connect with me on LinkedIn and say you heard me on this podcast.
Yes, please do. It is always nice to hear where people have heard about you, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Lovely. Thanks so much for today, Louise.
Oh, absolute pleasure.
Did you know that your chances of success are 7 times greater with peer support? Deep down, I bet you know what you need to be doing to build your audience. I bet these things have been on your list for a long time, but other things keep piling on top, which feel more important at that moment. But the longer you put off growing your audience, the more likely you are to run out of lead. And building an audience is not a quick thing. It takes time. The right time to do it isn't when you're stressing out about where the next client's coming from. It's when you're doing okay and want to keep building from there. Through the Visibility Mastermind, I have created a framework to help you take consistent, focused action. With the support of other women doing the same, you'll be more likely to stick to your plan and actually start to see the results. It's time to take action. Are you with me? Apply now at lifefriendlybusiness.com/visibility.